I dug up a quote today that I thought was quite apropos of your work and of tonight's conversation on art, life, and politics. I'll read the quote and then I'll give you the surprising author. "It is the first responsibility of every citizen to question authority." Benjamin Franklin said that. I thought that was pretty good, you know. We get these, of course we can cherry quotes, but that's a really nice one too. And I think in so many ways your work has emboldened people to question authority. And I think by putting this message out there saying obey, what you're really saying is dissent.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the idea of saying obey what, where, you know, what are the things that you really would prefer to disagree with, to, you know, or to say, you know, this is something that I can't, you know, I can't agree with. You know, I need to just state my point of view. I think that the, you know, quiet submission is one thing that is, you know, is very, very dangerous, because it means that the people with the most to gain by seeing and the most by seeing their agenda win and the most power to shape things have less resistance, and to, you know, from the people who have power in numbers. So you know, that's all it's about for me. Is, I guess, you know, I root for the underdog, that you know, that the person with a little bit of courage and ingenuity and resourcefulness can be the David versus the Goliaths. And you know, a lot of people look at my philosophy as anti-capitalist. It's not anti-capitalist. The idea that people are rewarded for hard work and making good products is great, but the problem is that capitalism needs a good referee. Capitalism without a referee leaves the door open for abuse. People that gain a little bit of leverage. I, in my own career, recognize how much easier it is to do better once you've made a little bit of money. And yet I have absolutely no ambition for, you know, anything sinister. There are a lot of people that do, and I think that you know, that as much as I dislike government bureaucracy and you know, paternalism and meddling, at least there's an accountability to the voter there, where a lot of these corporations have absolutely no accountability to anything other than the dollar. So it's yeah, that's something that I'm very, very concerned about, and a lot of my work focuses on that. A lot of the work in the Power and the Glory show is about that.
Could you give just a brief, just a brief little précis for the Power and Glory show, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Sure. So my show at the Halsey, which is, it's incredible to be paired up with Jasper Johns, because I'm a huge fan of Jasper Johns' work. I've made a portrait of Jasper Johns. I have made pieces that were tributes to his work in my own American flag derivations, my own images that incorporate the target, which was an icon that was a recurring motif in many of his pieces. So that's amazing. And Jasper Johns also, you know, he looked at icons of America, and I think he was much more opaque and mysterious about what his feelings were about the subject matter. But there is a connection, I think, in terms of the imagery and some of the choices of subject matter between us. For me, this show is it's an evolution of a lot of the ideas I have, but inspired partially by Jasper Johns' use of the American flag and the idea of this very, very malleable symbol of America that a lot of people have, you know, different, it means different things for different people. But there are these cliches about, American exceptionalism, America being the place where there's, it's a level playing field. You can be an immigrant and move here from anywhere and work hard and do well. And and I think a lot of those things are great ideas, but that's all they are becoming, is ideas, not realities. So the concept of power and glory, the title of the show, it could be whose power, whose glory. So a lot of the work focuses on celebrating visually, but questioning conceptually these ideas of the American dream, what America means, the history of American industry, American imperialism, American politics. And I think the number one thing in art making is that the art has to be a compelling picture. It has to appeal aesthetically or be powerful aesthetically. I'm careful about my choice of words here because my work doesn't appeal to a lot of people, but it may not be something that's easy for them to gloss over either, which is good. But then all my favorite musicians are people I like the sound of their music, but I like what they have to say within their music. So The Clash, Public Enemy, Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Bob Marley, the Dead Kennedys. There's any number of people who they're able to achieve both within one delivery system, and that's what I'm striving for with my work. And this body of work, I think is it's really focused on these ideas of the American dream not being as easy to attain as maybe it once was, that America's maybe not as fair as it once was. And anyone that goes to the show will see that within the works. It's also the first time I made some sculptures for this show. It's the first time I've ever made bronze sculptures, and I've got a neon sign, and I have an installation that's going in the Satilli Theater that is going to be sort of a store that's gone out of business. That's an installation that is driven by these concepts. And a lot of it sounds very negative, but I did do the most positive image on College Lodge. If power and glory is all very it's that's power that I do think is glorious. That we can make do a lot with wind and hydroelectric and solar, and when you look at the fact that the oil industry is still it's highly profitable, yet still subsidized by our government for $40 billion a year. That Cylinder going out of business for $500 million cost of the taxpayers. That's a drop in the bucket, comparatively speaking. But anyway, hey, I get no applause in Charleston on this one, I think.
Great.
I've got a farmer's tan from painting a mural out in the sun at Tivoli. The sun has got some power.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm telling you,
it does.
it's got
It
some
does.
power.